We're talking about the cybersecurity panel discussion on combating cybercrime. Stay vigilant, stay safe. Well, we're talking about covering stay vigilant of fake COVID-19 websites, phishing mails, and malwares. Update VPN network devices and devices being used to remote work environment with latest software patches and security configuration. Identity and access management capability, limiting access to databases containing sensitive information, and also potential compliance implications of huge increase in mobile working and use of personal devices. We're also talking about third-party security strategy. Well, we've got with us our panelists who are joining us. First up, Akhil Verma, Chief Information Security Officer, Airtel Payments Bank. Well, a proven leader in the security arena, Akhil has close to 16 years of experience in the field of information or cybersecurity, security operations, security policy implementation, SLA management, information system audit, risk management, and compliance and software development. Well, Akhil is an information security enthusiast who's been working across the banking industry with a leading public sector bank, small finance bank, and payments bank. Akhil has received the Bold CISO Award by the Dynamic CISO Forum for 2019 and 20. We've also got with us Manoj Sarangi, SVP and CISO NSDL Group. Well, in this role, he's responsible for establishing information security strategy and direction for the group, provide leadership for the information security program through strong working relationships and collaborations across financial services, industry ecosystem, and keep current on emerging information security threats, technologies, and other related developments. In his current role, he is responsible for the cybersecurity incident management, security standards, and certifications amongst his key accountabilities. We also have with us Rahul Arora, Country Manager, Strategic Sales, SonicWall. Well, an experienced sales professional with a demonstrated track record of over 14 years in information technology solutions and security software, Rahul's been constantly working towards defending organizations in a fast-moving cyber arms space and providing positive and user experience. Skilled in enterprise sales, strategic partnerships, customer value, go-to-market strategy formulations, and revenue recognitions. Currently with SonicWall as the Country Manager, Strategic Sales, managing the enterprise business pan-India. And this entire panel discussion is going to be moderated by Shankar Jadhav, the Managing Director, BSC Investments and Head of Strategy, BSC. While Shankar is awarded top 100 most influential persons in BFSI, recognized for contribution in IT sector as well as in marketing. He also serves as a director at the BFSI Sector Skill Council, BSE CSR Integrated Foundation, and the Board of Bank of India Shareholding Limited. Shankar has completed over 2 decades of successfully setting up and managing business operations as a CEO, advisor, mentor, and board member in diversified businesses. So ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to welcome our esteemed panel here on this platform. And thank you so much for joining us. Over to Shankar for taking it forward.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Bhavna, for the introductions. Glad to see all my friends. And let me start with one simple question. Does cybersecurity mean really much to the customer? I think I will give you the introductory. Everyone can speak on this and talk about it, because in the end, the whole cybersecurity arena is to serve the customers. Please go ahead, Manoj.
A long time back, this is something that, question keeps on coming back and forth again. So why do you need the brakes in the car? You need brakes in the car so the car can move, so it can be stopped. Cybersecurity is something very similar. It is a necessity. It is something that touches life of everyone. It's not just enterprises or the big corporates. It's people at large, maybe customer, maybe just households, all citizens, everyone. The cybersecurity touches everyone's life. You have a bank, you have an account, you are touched by the cybersecurity at some form or other. The bigger question is, when it touches your life, what you should do. So how should you protect yourself? That's the bigger question. And if you are trusting your data with someone, what is that organization, what is that individual doing to safeguard your data? So these are the bigger questions or larger questions that comes to mind. So two things. One, you should take care of your data, stay informed, stay alert, so that you care for what belongs to you, to should stay safe. Second part is, if you are transferring or you are entrusting your data with someone, so make sure that that organization, that individual, that body, corporate takes care of data the way you would take care of the data yourself. That's my
Yes, please.
take on
Akhil, please go ahead.
the
Yeah,
first question
so
from you.
Manoj has given very correct example like car brake. So the thing is, when we ask why do you use the brake, so definitely people's answer it will be there to stop that thing. But the thing is, in a positive manner, in the correct way, the brake it should allow us to drive fast with the proper and protected manner. Same thing is the situations of this cyber security also. And now the thing is, it's between the convenience and the security side. Definitely, if we are as a banking sector or as a some custodian of some data from the outside, means if any customers are providing data and they are doing some business with us, that time it's our prudent responsibility to protect their data, their privacy, and all those things. And as same time, we have to provide that required services in a secure manner. So yeah, definitely all these compliances and everything so we have to take care. At the same time, we have to provide the security with proper maturity and take care of their data because it's very much important from the privacy perspective. Second thing, it's from our side. Most of the operation, because organization, each and everything, it's not possible to take care all the operation at our end. Some are the other things we have to go for the outsource model. When we are giving the means some card printing or some of the things we are giving to the outsourced vendor, that time we are thinking, okay, one legal contract is there that will take care each and everything, but it is not correct. That is just like after that means post incident, if anything is there, that time we can utilize that thing, okay, whatever it was written a legal term. But the thing is that time we have to just take care as good as whatever how we are protecting the data in our environment. Same way vendor also should protect their data means on our behalf, and for that definitely third party risk management, our prudent, our monitoring, oversight, and all those things comes into picture. That is my thing.
Rahul, what do you think are the challenges today, like both Manoj and Akhil mentioned?
Yeah, I think I completely resonate with what Manoj and Akhil said, and not only them, in fact, the speakers in the morning as well, including Pawan and other people. So I think it's about staying operational, and we have learned that very well during this pandemic that, we got to stay operational while mitigating the risks which are there, right? Because all of us do understand there is a huge escalation of risk, which has come into picture now all of a sudden, but we still need to stay operational. Right now, that's how we need to look at it, and that's where we see that there is a huge explosion of the exposure points through which the bad actors or the threat vectors are kind of increasing and entering into our network. So we need to have a very clear model which addresses that gap. And the gap is the cybersecurity business gap. It's not only a security or a cybersecurity solution to be deployed, but it's to understand what is the gap, and we need to align that to the business goals. So in my view, cybersecurity, that's why it becomes very important, because it addresses that gap in the between for you to stay operational while mitigating risk. So very critical, very important.
So let me put, with this introduction, let me put 2-3 questions in your mind as a devil's advocate. I am a customer. If I am a customer for you, what do I care about? It is said that on average, people have to remember more than 100 or nearly about 200 passwords to various applications, either in office or personal or banking domain. I am pretty sure no one, even any person who considers himself intelligent on whatever scale, may not remember this. So most of the people try to write down or use password keepers or whatever, etc. That's one question that I have. Second, you may say you want to keep my data safe, but almost everyone takes all data. Like for instance, today my phone number will be available with, I think, 1 million people now. Though I never wanted to give it out, because every time I go to a webinar, every time I go to a web app or a banking app, they will ask my PAN number and phone number and date of birth. So what data am I keeping secure? They don't ask me about what my wife does for work or whatever. So most of the data that is required by you is not secure. How do we remove this mindset issue with the customers that yes, you have to be safe and we have to do these things. Anyone, I would suggest, because Manoj deals with all the people in securities I know, and we as beneficial owners, BOs, we are always worried whether someone will hack some account and take away my shares without me knowing.
Okay, so I'll try to answer all three questions that you have put forth, starting with the last one. Okay, because that's more important, and you should be more caring about that part. So along with protect, detect, respond, and recover, there are two terms that I have added to the preparedness requirement. One is practice, second is transfer. Okay, so protect means, in a current environment, you put firewalls, you put security postures, you determine the security posture of incoming devices. That's something protect. And use hardening of your devices and things like that. Detect is you invest in the SOC, Security Operations Center, and detect the attacks as they happen. And then you do threat feeds, take threat feeds, and do threat hunting and things like that. Respond is you have incident management policy, and you have playbooks. And if you look at SOTIN, they have around 16 different types of threats. So you need to have playbooks which can probably handle all these threats. Recovery is like your backup and snapshot that you take, and so that you can recover. But you should have a recovery strategy where you can recover from cyber security, incident. That's not something that you can do with a vanilla backup and recovery strategy. That kind of strategy won't help. So that's a different strategy altogether. The more important part that I have added onto this is, transfer. Like you have cyber insurance, you have, dealing with third party, you have contractual obligation, you transfer some of the risks that you have through that. The other part is practice. Like if you see the Verizon data breach report, there is a significant amount of incidents identified with two major threat vectors. One is the distributed denial of service or denial of service. Second is the social engineering. So if you can practice like tabletop simulation or do some arrangement with SATIN and practice those environments and sensitize your workforce, that's something that is going to go a long way in protecting the environment that we are in. So these are some of the things, measures that need to be taken to keep the data safe within an enterprise. And I'll come to the other two questions. One is you have a lot of passwords, and how do you remember that across various applications or web portals and things like that. So we have moved from passwords to something like a passphrase, which is slightly more complex and easier to remember for me, difficult to decipher or kind of break in a brute force or a lexical attack. Like instead of keeping my wife and kids name and my flat number and a combination of that as a password, which is mostly the case. And if you look at most people, they will kind of resonate with that. So you say something like, I go to office at 10 a.m. So that becomes a passphrase, which is easier to remember, but very difficult to break in. So that's one thing that I would suggest, that if you're using passwords in multiple sites or portals, so use passphrases which are easier to remember across sites. Second part is the customer data. I fully agree with you. You go to any website, they'll ask hundred of things and collect a lot of data that is probably never used. We also do that. Means a lot of organizations I have worked with, they also collect such data which they probably have never used. So recently, the Sri Krishna Commission and the Data Protection Act that is coming up, the Privacy Act that is coming up, that will probably put an end to such information being collected. So collect all the information that an organization needs and make use of, and make sure that the purpose is also spelled out before the customer, and put together also a process so that the customer can modify the data or withdraw consent to usage of data. So those are the principles that need to be followed by the industry. It has to be adopted. We are actually kind of lagging behind in that, probably as compared to some nations who have enacted privacy laws for decades now. But that is something that has need to be done. So I fully resonate and agree with what you told about collection of personal information, which probably may not have any use in the context in which they are being collected. I hope I answered all three.
Yes, Akhil, I think I saw on your face that you beg to differ in certain aspects. Even I do. I will comment on it later, but let me give you a chance first.
So I'll not differ the thing whatever Manoj said. It's a completely agree. But the thing is, I will tell from the customer point of view. So whatever we are doing, it's okay, because so many points I've noted, like passphrase. I was about to tell this thing from the customer perspective. Password, it's definitely giving our number, date of birth, wife name, and all those things, kids name, flat number, and all those things. It's very easy to track. So now we have moved to the passphrase things. That completely agree with. But the thing is how to enforce or how to aware the peoples. Okay, now you have to adopt this mechanism. For that, I think one key important, it is as good as it is for employee also, it is required, and for the customers also. That is the first and foremost thing, and which always it will be evergreen, is the customer awareness. The thing is, as much as they are aware, as much as they should know. Okay, means what data they have to provide, how they can keep protected, and which way they have to do. Definitely, if nowadays everybody need a lot of you can say online surfing and everything, Twitter account, this account, that account, their data is giving some free offer. People are putting that data, and after that downside options will be there. I agree with terms and condition. None of us, I think including here in panel also and audience also, none of us read that what exactly they are going to use that data directly, accept, agree, done. Manoj has rightly said, whenever this data protection and all those things will come, at least that time peoples will be having that authority, remove that data, not to use that, delete it and everything. So that time they can use that particular authority to take that data. We are going into mall and something, peoples will be standing there giving one holiday coupon type of thing. You just name it, lucky draw, and we will get that thing. Next day onwards, we are started getting called. That time we are giving up a number, means mobile number, name, probably address, email ID. Some two, three things has gone. After that, it's very easy for making permutation and combination and going and visiting. So ultimately, crux is customer awareness. It should be very much important. Then only, and after that, from organization side, one things only I will tell. Terms which we call in a cyber profession is the due diligence and the due care. The thing is how much we can use, means how we can demonstrate organization, how whatever the proper due diligence and due care we are taking to protect that customer data by way of various international standard, by way of some audits, or demonstrating proper showcasing, then at least customers can get that confidence. Okay, if whatever the data I am giving, it is only required data which organization is going to utilize, and they are going to utilize for only for this purpose. I think slowly this confidence can be built up, and accordingly means customer side awareness and our side production journey, I think hands in hand it will go together and we can achieve those things.
Let me beg to differ with both of you. Though I know what we are saying, a customer does not care what you think about whatever it is. He says, I was doing this business in this manner. Can I do it in a similar manner without much tension? Today, the customer is frustrated. From the industry, I can tell you, to use an online payment system, I find it totally cumbersome, because you have to give the data to all the different wallets. Which wallet will be bought by someone else, I don't know. Like one company is bought by another. I do not want to go for one platform, for instance. And that's why I joined another. The next day I hear that this company is buying over the other. Second, the onus or risk is put on the customer in the current digital scenario. RBI has come out with lots of discussion papers and they've come out with lots of things. They say whether social engineering or the other, if the organization is informed well in time, then the customer is benefited and the risk is on the company which is providing the service, or the banking company or the payment company. Do you think customers are aware of it? I don't think so. Because none of us as industry partners, whether advertise this. So our regulators, SEBI or RBI, have to per force ask us to use some part of your budgets to advertise to the customers why this is good or bad. Have we not seen that? How do we make the customers our friends, our partners in a secure journey? Is what I would like you guys to discuss. Maybe Rahul can put some kind of thing because he's not from the industry but from the service provider. So can I listen to his views also?
Sure, Mr. Jadhav. So, I strongly, we were discussing the other day as well. There is approach of sab theek hai, and being fairly happy about the current situation, which unfortunately is not so good to be in, honestly, right? And we need to very well understand what you have pointed out is that the customer is frustrated right now. Right, the end user who's using banking systems and any other services from the industry gets frustrated because, of course, this becomes very cumbersome, right? But then I think this will evolve, in my view. Okay, because there are technology solutions, one which can help making it easy and simplistic for the users and for the service providers. That's one. But then the important piece is there is a two-way education that we need to increase. One, the customer needs to be aware, as you've just mentioned, that SEBI and everybody else should keep some portion of funds to advertise, to educate, to create that awareness. That's one piece. And second is we also realize that there is a gap in the skilled, personnel who are managing these kind of, solutions at the industry's end. Okay. For example, when we talk about phrases, or we talk about MFA solutions, or we talk about, multi-factor authentication, other identity access, solutions as well, to ensure that, the right access is given to the right user. But then to manage those kind of infrastructure environment, do we have enough and more and adequate skilled personnel today in the industry? No, there is a huge gap there, right? So I think it's a two-way education which will enable the technology to be used in the proper fashion and make it very simple and user friendly for the end user to adopt, and to also evolve along with the threats and the security landscape in the industry. So that's my point of view. So it's a two-way education that is very important.
But let me come to the other point. Besides this, we also have a problem.
Yeah.
Lots of customers, when they talk to me, they say, sir, can you give me a simple way to complain about a cyber fraud or a cyber crime? Is there a way I can do it? There seems to be none. Whichever site you point out to, whichever FIR you point out to, whatever you do, you don't get a confirmation. And many times it's just automated confirmation. You just put a complaint, it'll say, okay, your complaint is lodged, your complaint number is so and so. Nothing happens after that. In fact, people have told me they waited for three years and not a first response also, except that mails which automatically come. We have received your mail, we will respond in time. Nothing happens. People are very worried if there's a crime, what to do. As long as everything goes on, there's no problem. Goes right, there's no problem. But the moment something goes wrong, and which is what we are talking about, cyber crimes and how to combat them, that is the biggest problem. And along with it, there is a second issue. Everyone is not connected to the internet. Today we have, I would say, beggars. Why beggars? Because they want the bandwidth, but they don't get. When we are working in our company, I can see some of my people who stay in Vasai, Virar, Kalyan, Dombivli, they don't get the bandwidth. It's such a big issue today that people want, the companies may pay, but we don't have bandwidth. In such cases, the cyber crimes and frauds are very easy to take care. Very easy to actually come out. How do customers prevent themselves on it? I know that in the night, if my bandwidth is not on and my phone is not on, someone will call me and say, sir, aapka phone SIM band ho gaya hai. So we have given the SIM to someone else. This has happened. How do we stop? Because there are multiple owners here, telecom operators, etc. Is there any method by which a person can authenticate and can say this should not happen, and that how to he prevent the cyber crimes? Is there a way that any of you suggest? Manoj, since you've been, I know that in our industry, we have been in digitalized for many years. In fact, SEBI has been very proactive. They started long back, and every few quarters they would say, okay, now you move up the ladder, move up the ladder. And today I think our industry is one of the most secure industry in terms of number of crimes that have happened in cyber. That's what I feel.
See, it's a very difficult question to answer because it relates to multiple things. One is maturity of the whole environment, and also you are talking about the consumer rights. See, there are two aspects to it. People should know their duties as well as the rights. When they access a service, they should know what are the rights and what they should do. It's an individual due diligence that need to be performed before they avail any services. And when they avail the services, they should also know what are the rights and responsibilities. So I'll give an example. Okay, so this may be slightly far-fetched example, but I'll just anyway give it. So people sharing data is different. The context is different in a developing country than a developed country. Okay, so medical data is a protected data in with a lot of Western countries, right? You don't know, you cannot disclose if somebody has a heart ailment or any life-threatening disease or things like that. That data is protected by privacy law. But in India, if you do not know that your neighbor is having a heart problem, in mid of night, if there is a call, you will ignore it. You will not rush into to help the neighbor. That's a social security and social constituent that we need to look at, because that's how things work here. And long back, maybe around 2006 or so, a researcher from Carnegie Mellon, he met me. He was doing research in privacy. And he told me in your railway reservation chart, there is a name and the age is written and a lot of details is there, which should not be there. I told the context, you are missing the context. So the kind of population and the kind of fraud that happen here is very important to put those information in public so that can be prevented by a peer review, inadvertent peer review. That means people look at it and see that this doesn't look like 30-year-old or something like that. So that can be prevented. There are multiple other social angles. So it's not kind of just consumer rights cannot be taken for granted. So with rights, the obligations and duties also should come in force. I do understand that they need to be educated. There should be much more empathy towards the customers in exercising their rights. And the situation, if somebody is subjected to a crime or an incident, should be adequately kind of held. But that is something that it is evolving. So maybe in some of the countries where it is evolved, it may take some 10 days. So we are taking maybe 2 years. So I don't know. I don't have a figure to back that out. But that's something like much linked with the maturity of the whole ecosystem. Like if you have to fight cybercrime, you have to educate the police. You have to educate the other law enforcement. The judicial system also need appropriate upgradation. So all these things has to happen simultaneously, which is probably happening. I have seen a definite change in last 10 years. So it's happening. Probably, not at the speed probably what we would have liked it to happen, but it's definitely kind of changing. The environment is definitely changing the way that it should, but definitely with a slower pace.
Yeah, completely agree with this point because it's a complete ecosystem. Maturity need everywhere. So, and like security, we are telling, and this side process also awareness and the improvement also, it's not a destination, it's a journey. Definitely last 10, 15 years, we have seen a lot of changes. In fact, from the law agency side also, you see, maximum states have started putting that cybercrime in a specific dedicated department of the cyber police, cyber stations, SP Cyber City. In fact, yesterday also news was there for the UP. Okay, so it's definitely changes are happening. Second thing, it's a customer who is availing the service. It's not like overnight any organization can make them educated. It's their responsibility also what services they are availing. They should be aware about their rights. In a banking scenario, you see where in my organization anyway, it's not a brick and mortar type of branches. It's a digital thing. But you see that banking scenario, any public sector, private sector, wherever branches are there, all are forced to keep that banking ombudsman number in the entry gate and all the places. So that time it's the information to the customer. Okay, if you are not getting that proper services, whatever you are intended to get that because you are maintaining that accounts here, so you can call this number. These are your banking ombudsman personal number. You can raise that complaint. Their CEO numbers, MD CEO numbers, or the regional head numbers are provided. So definitely this is the education and it's a both side. Our side also, we have to put some effort to make them educated by sending that SMS, emails and putting all such type of notices. But at the same time, it's a customer side also, that effort is required to know their rights. It's not like simply, okay, I have given my money and after that, if anything is happening, I don't know what I have to do it. Ultimately, you have to take care each and everything and refund that money. Even though if they have, means most of the time it is happening, means I should not say most of the time, but yeah, many time it is happening. People say they are somebody getting call and after that OTP is coming, sir, your LIC bonus, it has come, whether your LIC agent has not informed. Okay, no issue, I'm sending you this OTP for verification, you just give me. So that time, if definitely no technical controls can work in this case, it's only individual responsibility. So that time, okay, we have to see. Because if anybody is going to individual house and asking, okay, give me this ornament, if it is a key you are keeping it inside, nobody will give. But that time, okay, I am having some unmatured bonus in LIC. That time, okay, this is a OTP. Okay, you take it. That time, suddenly 50,000 is, or whatever amount, it has gone. So it's a customer side, it's a both side thing. So maturity, it will come, I think, hands in hand, and both side effort is required.
Rahul, let us talk about our role as security professionals. How do we do something so that the cyber crimes are reduced or we catch the criminals easily?
Very valid, simple and straightforward question, I must say, Mr. Yadav. At the same point of time, I think I'll touch upon a few things that Manoj also highlighted, that it's an ecosystem and it cannot be a point answer to this question, right? It's an ecosystem that we have to work towards. Now, that ecosystem, of course, becomes very relevant from a technology solution standpoint, that whatever solution that you evaluate, that you deploy as an organization, as a banking or BFSI industry, organization, that has to be an ecosystem solution altogether, which covers the platform view, which gives you the ability to know the unknown, and not only in a traditional or historical manner that, signatures and all of that, which used to work about 5 years back or 10 years back, right? We're talking about using maximum ML and AI kind of, algorithms and concepts to ensure that we know the unknown. That's one piece. Second is, it's very critical to have a unified visibility of whatever you're trying to do in your environment. Okay. So you do that. And third is that have a holistic platform or a layered approach towards whenever you look at cybersecurity posture in your organizations, right? Because it cannot be just a perimeter or a gateway security or a firewall, which can do wonders for me in my life, right? It also cannot be an endpoint protection, or we talk about EDR, advanced EDR solutions and all of that. That cannot alone address everything that we need, right? In last 5 months, we have seen that it is anytime access to anybody from anywhere, any network, right? It's some kind of, funny element right now, but then it's a fact. And the fact is that it is making us less secure, right? So it's very critical that we cover all the aspects, because you won't believe, to all of you, you'll be surprised. I talk to a lot of, CISOs and CTOs and CXOs. I was surprised to know that there are still organizations who prefer using a port 3389 and RDP for a remote session, right? Now, unfortunately, so that's not what we are really looking to do, and that's when we have to curtail the kind of approaches that.
Rahul, would that not be? I'm just cutting a little bit, because would that not be a costly approach to not use that? See, using lots of other features, the industry has costed itself out, or rather priced itself out. Absolutely. I realize that the customers are saying, when I used to physically go to a bank and do a transaction, it was much cheaper, and I would know a person. It gives me more pleasure. It's like tourism, I see how many sites on my web. It doesn't give me the enjoyable feeling. But when I go to a beach, even if for a few minutes, I enjoy the place. Or like darshan of the god, idol. I do not know why it was meant to be cheaper, faster, and better. But in digital, customers have got the opposite experience. Yeah. Like, I'll give an example, my newspaper wala. And why I'm saying is very simple. They had some subscription or something. I said, I don't care, you just give me the paper. And they wanted my PAN card and Aadhaar card number to prove why, because they wanted to check whether the newspaper wala is just subscribing on someone else's behalf and getting the margins in between. I don't agree to it. All sites, including bank sites, want to be on my phone, want to be connected to all that, and always on. I go to places where there's no network. In fact, in my house, there are rooms where there's no network at all. So what are we going to do in such cases? How do we satisfy the customers and reduce the costs?
Sure. So two aspects that you have just touched upon. Okay. One is, I'll start with the second one first so that I can address the first one in a better fashion. First is that race to digitization, right? We all see and we have been observing that for almost a decade now, that there is a race to digitization, which everybody wants to be a part of, right? Now, whether good or bad, but then there are different mechanisms and approaches that everybody is taking towards that digitalization as well as adoption of cloud. Okay. Now, let's not shy away from that it is happening. So now what we have to address is finding the right solution and ecosystem at the lowest possible TCO. As you've rightly pointed that, will it not increase the cost of air, right? So we have to find out platforms which are more seamless and which cover all the aspects and also deliver lower TCO to you, right? And that's exactly where, solution providers like SonicWall come into picture, wherein we are able to deliver platform or security, which is 360 degree view, which is more boundless or borderless in nature, also delivers lower TCO to you, irrespective of the platform solutions that you use. So I will discuss a little more in my tech talk as well about 20 minutes from now. But then I think finding the right ecosystem partner for your cybersecurity who delivers lower TCO as well is the key. And that's where, that's how our evaluation strategy has to move.
Akhil, have you noticed that the cost of cybersecurity is rising year by year as compared to the all other costs?
Yeah, it's right. Definitely, it's rising, and some way it's required also, and some way we are just behind the race. The thing is, each and every solution, lot of solutions are coming, and whenever we are asking the budget or any cybersecurity professional, so that time also we are getting the answer after this whether we are completely secure. So all those things are coming, and just in this race, what is happening? We are just leaving over the foundation concept, like back to basic type of thing. We are putting a lot of EDRs and all those socks over and all those things, but that time what will happen in during this scenario, organization will not be in a position to push that some patches which may be required to patch that outdated Windows system. So that we are not in a situation to put that, but yeah, in perimeter, all those things. During this pandemic scenario, you see now what threat landscapes are totally different. Earlier only we were in a position, means we were supposed to protect our data center. Now each and every phases it is coming in point, and where I am connecting from my home, where my router is properly configured, where the organizations in. So it's a definitely different threat landscape. And that way we have to, I think...
Before concluding, let me ask you one more question. RBI has put one very good discussion paper in between. What they said is, can we give the customer the right to choose when to connect to the service provider and when not to? It should be a pull service, not push service. Today we have an app which sits on our phone all the time. RBI said, can we remove the app when he doesn't want? And can he put on the app and then again work on it? I believe that would be a very good solution because I do it quite often. Like I don't use Zoom often at all. Whenever I want, I download it, use it, finish it off, remove it. Correct. So Zoom doesn't record. There's something called a device ID, obviously. So I keep on changing devices. I use other people's devices, etc. And the second is, everyone tells us not to click a link. But even for this seminar, we have to click a link. This is going haphazard everywhere. How do we stop these two? And I know that we'll have to conclude soon. So maybe someone can just pick it up and answer. So Manoj, your mic is on mute.
Yeah, so I'll not give a direct answer because there is none to my belief. So I'll give a response to the previous question that you had asked. Like the cost is increasing. So obviously, instead of a guard, when you hire a detective, so the cost will increase. And the role of the security head has moved from data center to boardroom. So there are certain aspects that have changed over time, and the complexity of security or protection has also increased. It is just like the locks that we used to have on our doors 20 years back are not the same. Same is with security. It has evolved and it will continue to evolve, and people find new ways and new threats to dissipate that and attack enterprises for personal and other gains. If you look at the Verizon data breach report, around 45% of the attacks that had happened through organized crime syndicates. So it's not, when it is a script kiddie or someone who is doing an attack for some personal benefits, that was a different paradigm. And it has completely shifted. There are organized crimes and sometimes state actors that are involved in cyber threats. Obviously, for protecting such bigger threats and organized crime require a higher level of preparedness. So hence the cost has gone up, and it's not going to come down anytime soon. One aspect that you talked about the app. See, one thing that we should do is, if you see, when I update my app, it says there is an update available 300 MB, 500 MB, and all these things. And when I update, I don't see any change. So what is that app doing by upgrading itself? I don't know. I have no idea. So one thing that I would probably, want to see is minimalistic app, saying that these are the 5 things that you get as a minimalistic app. And if you want more features, you download each of the features. Let's say one feature, 5 MB. And if I don't need a feature, I disable them, remove them from my device. That's what should happen to keep it at an optimal level. So these are my, thoughts on the questions or the things that you have raised, issues that you have raised.
Good, Manoj, good suggestion. Anyone else, or we open for questions? Bhavna? Akhil, you want to speak?
Yeah, so your last, if we are having just quickly 30 seconds only, I think Bhavna is about to tell that we are overshooting the time. Yeah, I understand. Okay, just quickly. I think you mentioned that example that for joining this particular conference also, we were forced to click one link. The thing is here also that first point it is coming, that user awareness. So we were expecting that that particular link. It's not like unexpected thing. And we know that who is sending. So that time, if we can properly do delegate, definitely email also.
There I disagree with you, because whoever was sending, the link was not made by that person. They went to some app and made a link. And I can assure you, I can give you lots of apps which will make you links, which will appear something else and do something else.
Yeah, in that case, see, means definitely email also.
So I don't trust links even while my wife sent, by the way. As Manoj said, we don't know what is there in the link.
So you are going towards zero trust model. That is good also, and that is required in security. So that is good also, actually. It was not a topic of this discussion, but definitely nowadays zero trust model is only forcing.
No problem. Thank you, Akhil. Yes, Bhavna, we have some time for questions. Any questions?
Shankar, no, I'm sorry, the current time we've really overshot, but we do have one message, which is with one question. If we can just get a quick view of that, if that's okay. Kashif is asking, how about the latest trends of using automation and information security, like break attack simulator, automation in VAPT of applications? How has it evolved? Could any of you like to take that forward? Shankar, if you could help me direct that to your panel.
I think Akhil would be able to comment on it if he wants to, otherwise I will do it.
Sure.
Yeah, we can take it. See, automation, definitely it's required and it's a trend also. You can say security, when we are telling that security by design concept. So that time, whenever design is happening, so that time itself, a lot of tools, automation sites, it's available. That itself, when programmers are writing some tool, it can provide that error that time itself. Okay, from the security perspective, you could have done this way. Then after that, once it is completely deployed, so that time also that automation tool, because it should be released after proper assessment, after proper VAPT, after all those things. Then this is the process of the application side. Related to this parameter, definitely again this defense in depth, whatever that time Rahul was also mentioning, all those things we have to take care. And then definitely automation is required, because now complexity has been raised in such a way, it's not possible that to take care each and everything manually and go and assess, do that audit and all those things. Some or the other way, definitely automation is required.
Sure.
Actually, the cost of security increases because we have to test it so well to come to a reliability level at such a high level. Otherwise, the cost of security would not be so high, as Manoj rightly pointed out. It's that we want to make sure that the errors are minimal. Good. Thank you very much, everyone. It was a very good discussion. Bhavna, you can take over, please.
Thank you so much, Shankar, Akhil, Manoj, and Rahul for joining us on this panel.